REPLEI is a generative AI tool for evaluating scientific research plans and identifying shortcomings and presenting suggestions for improvements. REPLEI provides instant feedback on clarity, structure, and coherence, ensuring that the research aims, questions, and methods are well defined and aligned with each other. Let's have a run through of REPLEI's properties and characteristics. So it's a virtual assistant which we can specify as a research assistant based on large language model. It's built on Python, utilizes OpenAI API, and runs on a local machine. And the use case is for research planning, and the task it automates is reviewing and improving research plans. And the input for the tool is the research plan contents in a form of a Microsoft Word document, and the transformation is the evaluation, and output is the report describing scores and comments for improvements, and the report is output as text file. So to put things into a context, we have a supervision process. There's a student and there's a supervisor, and now we are bringing on board a virtual co-supervisor, a virtual assistant. So this is REPLEI. So we have seen that AI is transforming research systems by improving efficiency, accuracy, and scalability. We have seen that AI can support researchers in multiple ways, such as data analysis, literature reviews, research design validation, and decision-making support. But this REPLEI is for the initial steps for the research, which is the evaluation of the research plan. So when we look at the context of the supervision process, we can identify the initial steps, which are formulated as a research plan, and then when the research progresses, we will have a thesis draft. And the research plan is designed and then reviewed by the supervisor. The designing is, of course, by the student. So REPLEI is doing this reviewing part of this supervision context. So therefore, the target users of REPLEI can be university lecturers, so they can review students' coursework, for example, if the coursework is research. As a teacher, of course, you still play a key role in evaluating critical thinking, originality, and the feasibility of the student research. But the AI acts as an assistant, a virtual co-supervisor, but human expertise still needs to be present to ensure academic rigor. Also, the target users can be supervisors and advisors for reviewing student theses, both undergraduate or graduate thesis, research plans. And also the users could be researchers for critically analyzing their own research plans. So REPLEI does two forms of checks. The first check is component check. So here we have a summary of the components which it looks for in the research plan. So first we have the framework of the study. The framework is characterized by research keywords, the description of the main process or business process, and relevant theories from the literature. So this theories section should list the theories that are directly related to this research. So theories are like an umbrella under which the research fits, and this helps to find a suitable theoretical model in the literature later. So in this part, the student does not describe these theories in detail, but just lists the theories. For example, Timothy Combs' strategic communication theory. So then we are, the next step is the starting points of the study. Here the research plan describes the object of research, describes the process to be studied, describes the innovative solution if the innovation is involved. For example, in a form of the AI, if the AI is the object of study. Then it describes the context of research, title of research, defines the specific problem, knowledge gap, and research aim. And also may include the main research question and sub-research questions. Next, the current business process is described. So this description is of the business process that the study is addressing. And this includes people or persons involved in this business process, also describes input and output of the addressed business process, describes the current procedure, and maybe also presents a flow chart and explains the flow chart of the process studied. Next, relevance, which is presented by actuality of the topic. In this part, the student lists the aspects that express the topicality of his or her research, and also explains the innovativeness of the topic. Next is the literature review, where the student describes the existing mainstream model, also relevant other studies that will answer the questions that the student will present in the research plan. The student will not list these other studies yet, because this is still the research plan, but he or she will present the questions that he or she will seek answers for from the literature. Next, there will be a study design, which includes a specification whether this is a qualitative study or quantitative study, and also specifying research method. And then we move on to the data context, where the research plan describes data subjects, data sources, data collection methods, types of data involved, in what format the data is. And then we move on to the description of the sample. Here the student describes the sample design, the sample size, list of subsamples and their sizes, how the recruitment is being done to the study. And then we move on to innovation, where if the innovation is used, the student shortly describes the innovation. Also, what is the student's contribution to the innovative solution, and also how the innovation is upgrading the business process that is studied in this research. And if there is a flow chart, then also the upgraded flow chart is presented here. Next, we move on to variables. Variables are the core part of the study. This is what the data is collected about. And here the student describes which variables are automatically stored by the system, if any. Then what is the data generated by calculations, if any. If questionnaire is used, what is the intro text at the landing page, what kind of variables characterize the respondent's background. Also instructions that the a student gives to the respondent to try out the innovation or the fill out the questionnaire, and then the main variables that measure the performance of the old method of doing things, followed by the main variables that measure the effectiveness of the innovation method. So if the A/B testing approach is used before, how the system was working or the process was performing, and after the innovation. And also open text questions if these are used. Then we move on to the data collection part, where the student describes data collection platform used and the procedure, how the data is collected. Then we move on to the data analysis methods, where the student answers or specifies whether descriptive statistics is used, whether chi-squares test is used, student t-test, ANOVA, logistic regression, correlation analysis, statistical significant tests, and what kind of software is used for doing these statistical tests. And briefly also the description of data analysis. And then we move on to the description of the results, what kind of tables and figures are planned in the thesis or coursework. This is of course the preliminary information, but this helps the AI to understand how the results of the study are expected or planned to be presented, and give feedback on that. And then presumed conclusions, where maybe we have some ideas what we might expect from this research. This would also help to later perform the alignment check for the research plan. And the thesis structure or the coursework structure is basically a table of contents where the chapters and sub-chapters and even sub-chapters are listed to better understand how the final thesis or a research paper will look like. The second check is alignment check, which will go through the previously said components of the research plan and make sure or evaluates if these are aligned with each other. So these are, for example, checking if specific problem is aligned with the knowledge gap, also if the specific problem is aligned with the research aim and sub-research questions, then if the knowledge gap is aligned with the research aim and sub-research questions, if the research aim is aligned with main research question, if the research aim is aligned with sub-research questions, and most importantly, if the research aim is aligned with the selected research method and study design, and other relevant alignment checks listed in this slide. So moving on to the system architecture. So the system architecture consists of the parts that we see on the slide. We have the user interface, which allows users to configure the analysis, select input files, and initiate the research plan evaluation. Then we have student research plan or plans in multitude. So many of the plans can be of several students can be uploaded at the same time or selected. So these are Microsoft Word documents which are previously submitted by students for analysis. Then we have data extraction module, which extracts each component from research plan for further analysis. Then we have research plan components. This is a repository of extracted components used for comparison, and evaluation. These are the components we just went through in the lengthy slide previously. Then there are rules, which are research plan examples, component rules, and alignment rules. These define the expected research plan structure and necessary components that need to be present in this research that the student is doing, but also the specification for alignment criteria, as we saw on the last slide. Then there is analysis module, which performs component and alignment checks based on predefined rules. A large language model is used, which does the evaluation based on the extracted components and their alignment, and provides feedback. And eventually, the report is output, which presents the analysis results and includes feedback and comments on necessary improvements. So setting rules is a crucial part of this architecture because this impacts the performance of the system, and rules will ensure that the feedback is domain specific and based on the examples provided by the user. So this heals student to the understanding that the expected standards for their specific research are met. So first we have user configuration of the research domain, for example, business intelligence domain or business AI domain. Secondly, the user sets up configuration rules based on the chosen research domain. This includes defining the required components for the research plan. For each domain, there are different components that are typically expected in a research plan, such as research aim, data analysis methods, and so on. Here the user can customize these components to reflect the specific needs of the research plan, and this could include adding or removing components based on the focus of the research. The user can also provide examples of well-constructed research plans for that domain. So this would serve as a baseline for evaluation. For example, if business research, in business research, an example could show a clearly defined research aim followed by clear methods and objectives. Or in another example, in AI in business, the plan could include specific sections about data collection methods and AI model design tailored to the research focus of that domain. So this concludes the brief overview of REPLEI. You can read more about this tool at koppelai.eu/REPLEI.